Now we are on. Okay. Good morning. It is October 1st, Thursday. We're here for gentle yoga. And grab a strap today. I hope you can hear me. Get a strap if you're at home and have it handy. You made it. There's plenty of room. So have a strap, and if anybody's out there, can you tell me yes, you can hear me? Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry, I'm a little late coming on. Thought I started the video, and I did not. So we are ready now, though. So just get comfortable. So if you're at home, grab blankets if you want to sit up on blankets. Sit on a chair if you want to. Sit on the floor if you'd rather. Get easy in your hips, shoulders down, away from your ears. And just start to gently close your eyes. And for a second, with your eyes closed, just let your focus look down so that you look down with your eyes with them closed, just easily like you're looking down towards the floor. And then just let your eyes come directly where you're looking forward and try looking up towards your forehead a little bit. And then bring your gaze back forward and let your eyes look towards the right. So you're just imagining without turning your head, you're just looking with your eyes towards the right. And then come back through center and go to the left so that you just imagine you're looking over towards the left. And then come on back into center. And now see if you can just circle a little bit with your eyes. You look down to one side and then up and to the other. And you can reverse the circle after you've done it one time. So you let yourself just focus in on that movement through the eyes. And finish off the one you're on. And then just release now. Let your gaze come down just a little bit. And then we'll come into our breath. So lengthening up through the top of your head. Let your shoulders release down. Feel your breath coming in and out through both sides of your nose. See if you can allow the breath to come in to expand your belly. Inhaling into the belly, then into your ribs, then up into your chest. And then we'll release our arms on out beside us here now. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's reverse to inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now let's inhale the arms forward, straight forward from your shoulders. And then flex your hands so your fingertips face up. Press into the heels of the hands without rolling forward with your shoulders. Kind of imagine your chest actually is coming a little more forward. And then send your fingertips down towards the ground so you're still pressing into the heels and working through the wrists a little bit there. And then turn the hands so that the fingertips face back up again. And we're going to open the arms on out beside us here now. And then bend your elbows. Bring your hands in towards your shoulders. And as you exhale, press out into the heels of the hands and press into your feet a little bit too, whatever part of your feet touch the floor. So inhale, bringing the hands in towards your shoulders. And as you exhale, pressing out, press into the feet a little bit too. Feel the low belly engage. And then we'll release our arms on down beside us, inhaling here. And on the exhale, twisting to your right, letting your left hand come over and around towards your right knee. Back arm just releases down the back of the chair or fingertips lightly on the floor. Inhale. And on the exhale, use your belly to bring yourself back around, all the way around into the other direction now for that twist. Waking up the spine. Feel the feet in the floor. Chin parallel to the floor so you find space in the back of your throat. Good. One more inhale. And on the exhale, use your belly to bring yourself on back into center. And you may want to come a little forward if you're in your chair. We're going to come into those circles now, moving into the torso circling, letting your exhales bring you forward and your inhales bring you back. So just very easily letting the breath move the body. You can have your eyes opened or closed here, it doesn't matter. And we're going to stop and go the other direction with that circle. And let yourself finish off so you come back up to sitting upright here now. Releasing your arms out beside you. Shake your hands out a little bit. And if you're cross-legged on the floor, stretch your legs out for a second before you switch and bring your other leg in front so that you even your hips out a little bit there. And then bringing the arms on out beside us again here. Let's inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And interlace your fingers now. Turn your palms away from you. Press into the heels of the hands. Now you can be forward if that's better for your shoulders, right? If your shoulders don't allow your hands to come directly overhead, don't do it. Just press into the heels of the hands. Feel your sitting bones reaching down into the surface you're on. And then let yourself lean to the left just a little bit so you have a little more through the right side here. Feel the breath coming into the right ribs so you feel the ribs expanding. And then we'll rise back up to the top and we're going to go the other way. So take your time, breathing into that side you're stretching. Really enjoy the space between the ribs there. And then we'll come on back. And let's bend our elbows and let our hands, and they're still interlaced, come right at the back of our heads. Press the back of your head into your hands a little bit, but keep the hands where they are so you're still reaching up through the top of your head. And you really feel that engagement here. And then see if you can just let your hands go back a little bit so the chin rises a bit. You're still supporting your head. Feel that openness through the front of the body here now. One more breath. And then let yourself come back up. Release your arms on out beside you. And let's bring our chin down towards our chest. Release your head forward. Maybe even a tiny bit. Turn your chin a little from one side to the other. Just a little bit. You can even stay when you turn it a little bit if that feels really good to your neck. Do. And we're going to inhale, rise the head right on back up to center here now. And we're going to come around towards our hands and knees. So take your time. You know that. If you don't want to be on your knees, don't be down on the floor. Use your chair seat or use a blanket. And remember, if your wrists bother you, coming on to fists takes away that, that intense bend there at the wrist. So you're more than welcome to be up on fists if you'd like. Let your gaze come between your hands here. For a second, just let your head turn a little bit side to side. The chin is kind of coming towards one shoulder at a time, just so you release there. And then we'll come on back into center. Take a nice inhale. And as we exhale, draw the tailbone up under you, rounding up into your cat pose here. Stay in your cat pose for a couple of breaths here. Feel the tops of the feet on the mat or your feet on the mat if you're standing. Let yourself open up there. And on your next inhale, feel your tailbone first reach back and then up. So the pelvis tilts, and then you can move on through into either a neutral spine or into your cow pose. Next exhale, draw that tailbone up under again. Let yourself round on up. And on your inhale, send the tailbone back and up. Flow back through your spine. And now just be with your own breath. So move at your own pace. Doesn't matter whether you move continuously or you want to stay in cat or cow for a little bit. Let it feel good, waking up there through the spine. And then we'll finish off the one we're on. And we'll come on back to more neutral spine. Now, turn your head to look to the right and float your right hand off the floor. Let that hand come straight out from your shoulder. You can just look at it and got a little more weight into your left hand. If you want to rise that right hand all the way up towards the ceiling so the arm comes up higher, you can. Not necessary. And then we'll bring the hand on back down. We're going to go the other side. Look to the left. Left hand comes up right out from your shoulder. That might be enough for your shoulder. If you want to add more, you can rise up higher, maybe even looking up towards the ceiling if it feels good for your shoulder. And then we'll release. We'll come on back down. And then from here, send the right foot back on the floor. It's just like a little mini lunge if you're in the chair. Just stretch back now into the back of the leg. Curl the toes under. Open up the back of that right leg. Zip up your belly a little bit. Side. So left foot comes back. Curl the toes under. Feel that calf engaging there. And zip up your low belly so you feel a little bit going on there. And then we'll come on back. And we're going to come into a lunge here. So you decide what height you want to use as you bring your left foot forward, your right foot back. Remember, you've got blocks, you've got chair, you've got a floor. So whatever height you want to be. Same thing with the length of your lunge. So you can have your feet closer together so that you're not in such a long lunge. That'll mean your hips might be higher. That's fine. You just go where you can be. Make sure that front left knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle so that you're okay there in your alignment. And feel the feet now pressing gently away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. And we're going to switch legs and come to the other side. So just be mindful. Remember that front knee bent no farther forward than your ankle. And feel the feet pressing now into the mat, again, like you're imagining lengthening your mat with your feet. Really engaging the low belly a little bit here, lengthening through the back body. Good. And we're going to switch again. If you want to lift up your left hand or forearm up to your thigh, you can. That's up to you. I mean, you can bring both hands up if you want. Let yourself come all the way without support down in your hands if you would like to get a little more. And then we'll come on to the other side again. So switching one more time. And again, if you feel like putting your right hand up on your thigh or your forearm, if you're up higher, or maybe you want to lift both up, that's fine. Be mindful. Good. And then we'll come on back down with our hands. We'll step forward, coming into standing forward bend here. So let your head hang. Walk a little bit. Bend a knee at a time. And see if you can keep your feet on the floor, though, to do that. So it's okay to lift your heel when you bend the knee, but just for fun, just for a little bit different feeling, just let one knee at a time bend. Take your time. When you're ready to come into releasing into your breath and focusing on your breath, just use whatever support you need that helps you to do that. So coming to feel those breaths expand your ribs as you inhale. Letting go through your face now, softening all around your eyes, your mouth. Even imagine your throat relaxing. One more full deep breath here. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing. We'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So coming into your mountain pose, adjust however you need to. Remember, you can walk in place a little bit if you need. Bend your knees. Feel very equal between your feet. Let your hands come gently together there with the thumbs coming in towards the breastbone, wherever they want to come to, really, wherever your thumbs kind of gravitate towards. And then let your pointer fingers separate just a little bit. And then let them gently come back together. And now your middle fingers are going to separate just a little bit. And then reconnect there. And now inhale your ring fingers a little bit away. Exhale them back together. And now your pinkies are going to separate a little. And then they're going to meet back again. And now your thumbs just a little bit apart. And then releasing back together. And let your knees soften a little bit. Feel your hips over your ankles, shoulders over your hips. So you're not locking your knees, but you're feeling this lift upward of the thighs. Enjoy that simple, quiet strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. And as we unfold our arms on down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend the knees as we come forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. Whether you put your hands up on your chair or your blocks or your shins or the floor, find that flat back. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. And draw your shoulders down. Really feel the feet again pressing away from each other. Engage the belly. Good. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So your down dog is yours. Where your hands are is up to you. If your hands are on the floor, you're more like an upside down V. If your hands are on the blocks, any height, your heels might well be on the floor. Maybe not. It depends on what the angle is here for your shoulders. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out towards a plank. Nice and strong plank. Engage your belly. Put your knees down if you need. Go to your forearms if you need. Right? So if it's too much in your wrists, you can be on your forearms. You can bend your elbows just a little bit if you'd like, in towards each other so you feel your biceps engaging a little deeper. You can go all the way into push-up, of course, if you want. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Reaching equally back through those sitting bones. Walk a little bit in your dog, bend a knee at a time. Feel your elbows hugging in so you feel really good up into your shoulders here. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come to lunge. And you know you can put your left knee down if you need to get there. However you can get back into that lunge. Press the feet away from each other again. Good. And we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Right away, go to your breath. If you feel fine to release your hands to your elbows, you can. If you feel like using support, do. See if you can let your breaths even out. So the inhales and exhales get closer to the same length. And if you feel like your exhales want to get even a little bit longer than your inhales, go right ahead and do that. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet, rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. Once you're up there, interlace your fingers, turn your hands again upward so that you're pressing into the heels of your hands. Come forward if you need to. And do the same thing we did sitting. Move over to the left with your hands and coming into stretching through the right side of the body. Feel the right foot into the floor. Let yourself breathe. Now, be comfortable with your head where it is. It may want to kind of lean in towards your left arm, or you may decide you don't want your head to go there, right? And then we'll come on up to center, and we're going to go the other way. So bend your elbows a little bit, and then really focus on pressing into the heel of the left hand. And let yourself breathe into the ribs. Feel that nice sideways stretch. Doesn't matter whether the arms are forward or not. And then come on back up to the top. Bend your elbows. Bring your hands behind your head, right at the back of your head. Now, try to keep your chin parallel. Press the back of your head into your hands. Feel your feet in the floor. And then start to let the head come back more. The hands release a little more back. Now imagine there's a string attached to your sternum, drawing the chest towards where the wall meets the ceiling. But keep your tailbone reaching. One more breath. And then reach those arms on up overhead. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. Remember, wherever you like your hands to be, blocks, chair, floor. And we'll step our left foot back and come into lunge here. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So take your time. Walk a little bit. Bend your knees if you need. You want to wag your tail around. Wag your tail around. Good. And on the next inhale, come on out to that plank. Nice and strong. Again, you can bend your elbows if you'd like. You can come into a little push-up or not. You can stay in that plank. And you can come to forearms if your wrists bother you. Be mindful. Reach your sitting bones down towards your heels. Really enjoy finding that core strength in your body. And then we'll come on back into down dog. And we'll bring our left foot forward to come into lunge here. And then we'll step all the way back into standing forward bend again. Get your feet set. Let yourself release. Now, only if this feels okay, see if you can put your hands up on your back. Interlace your fingers, clasp your hands, let them rest there wherever they come to on your back. If that doesn't feel good, don't do it. Keep support under your hands or your forearms. And just breathe. Really enjoy feeling the weight of the torso forward here. Opening up the backs of the legs. Feel the weight of your head, creating more space in your spine. And see if you can find those little spaces between your breaths. So at the end of your inhale, that little space or pause before you exhale. And the same thing at the end of your exhales, that little space or pause before you inhale. And as we bend our knees now, we'll press into our feet. We're going to rise straight on back up and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms. Inhale just your right arm all the way out and up overhead. Bend the elbow. Let yourself release that elbow wherever you can. If you want to bring your left arm up and over and hold on to your right elbow with your left hand, you can. That's up to you. You could also put it in front, you know, if it feels too much to come over the top. And just let your triceps release here. Now feel the feet in the floor. Make sure you're not locking your knees. Feel your tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. One more breath. And then we'll unfold both our arms back down beside us. And we'll inhale the left arm all the way out and up overhead and bend the elbow. And again, where that elbow goes, different for every person. Rising the right arm up and over the top to hold on to that elbow, totally optional. Again, you can put your hand in front of the upper arm here. So just be mindful. Don't do something that hurts your shoulders. Just try to feel that sense of being able to really find release in the shoulders. One more breath. And then we're going to unfold our arms on down beside us. And let's inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. You can look up if your neck allows it. And as you exhale, bend your knees and come forward into that standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find your flat back. However high up you want to go in that flat back, right? And we're going to step into down dog from here. So take your time, place your hands, the surface you like to use, whatever height you like to be with your hands. Feel your elbows softly hugging towards each other. And then on the next inhale, we'll come out to that plank. So you can come into plank and stay there. You can come down to the floor and come to a sphinx if you'd rather. You can move through towards an up dog or a cobra if you choose to do a back bend. Not necessary to do a back bend at all. And then we'll make our way back again into down dog. Good. We're going to do that again. Next inhale, come out to plank, nice and strong. If you like to do a little push-up, you can. Elbows come in towards the ribs a little bit. And then, of course, if you'd like to come into a back bend, you can. Not necessary to do it. You can come to a sphinx on your forearms. You can come through for a cobra or for an up dog. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And let's bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. And we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. Breathe. Nice, easy breaths. Let your head turn a little bit side to side. In fact, you might even want to let one shoulder come forward a little bit. So as you turn to the left, maybe let your left shoulder rotate a little more forward. So you're actually twisting a little bit upside down. That's up to you if it feels good. And then release back into center. Feel your feet equal on the floor. Let's bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. Inhaling the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts, coming into mountain pose here. So whether your eyes are opened or closed, see if you can really establish the feet on the floor equally. Let the body have time here to adjust its way into alignment. Hips over ankles, shoulders over hips. If you sway around a little bit, it's fine. Enjoy feeling the space around you in your mountain pose. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. Shake out a little bit. Move through your hands you need to. Shake out whatever you need. We're going to come into some warriors, stepping our left foot forward. So if you're using your chair, you might want to turn it around. You definitely want to have your blocks handy in case you need them by the front of your mat. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into warrior two. So left foot forward, right foot back. Line up those heels. If you can, once you kind of get the length of stance you like, see if you can lift all your toes up a little bit. It's very different in the back foot, I know, than the front. But think about lifting your toes up, finding the four corners of your feet. And then let the toes release on back down to the ground. And let's reach our right arm back behind us. Turn to look back over the top of your right hand, looking back behind you. Now, when you do that, make sure that left knee still stays centered over that left foot. And then we're going to slowly start to turn our head to look to the left, rising that left arm up as we get there with the head with our focus. And look right out over the top of that hand. Feel the feet equal in the floor. Really enjoy releasing the tops of the shoulders down. Imagine you're holding your arms up from underneath instead of the top of your shoulders. Let's put our right hand down on our leg, turn our left palm up, and inhale, reach up towards the sky. One more breath. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So whether you put your hand or your forearm onto your thigh, that's up to you how low you go. Adding that right arm up into line if you can, right? That is optional too. If your shoulder says no, don't do it. Feel the feet in the floor here now. Find that sense of length through both sides of the body. Good. We're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And now keep your arms out long here. Straighten your left knee out. And we're going to bring our left hand down for triangle. So thighs are lifting up as you start to lower your hand down. Maybe you want to use your chair. Maybe you want to use a block. You can grab a block and put the block in front of or behind that left foot down there or ankle. And then just lengthening up through the top hand. If you choose to have the hand up, you can have it on your hip. Find space in your spine here. Thighs engaging upward. Good. We're going to bend that left knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two. Press those feet away from each other as we come. Now we're going to find our way into a lunge from here. So as you turn to face the floor, bring your hands onto the surface you want to use. Go ahead and rotate that right heel now directly behind your foot. We're going to add a twist of choice. So keeping your right hand where it is, bringing your left hand on up to your hip, and going ahead and turning into that twist there. And you can stretch your arm up if you want to, left arm. Or you can keep the hand down on your low back or your hip. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself release and come on back down. And we're going to step forward, get our feet right underneath us. Bend both your knees a little deeper than you usually do. Think about your belly coming onto your thighs a little bit. Use support if you need. Keep your back long. You can hold onto your ankles or put your elbows or hands above your knees. And then press equally into your feet because we're going to rise straight up from here, rising on up, and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Equal between your feet, lengthening up through the top of your head. If you're finding that your jaw's kind of clenching, see if you can let go of that. And then we'll release and come on down. Shake it out just a little bit before we go to the other side. So we're going to come into right leg. So I'm going to turn around, but you all don't need to. Right foot forward, left foot back. So again, have your blocks handy. Use your hand on your chair as you need it. And bring your heels into alignment here. This back left heel can reach back a little further if that angle is okay for your foot, your knee, your hip. And then again, try lifting all your toes up. So think about lifting the toes up off the mat, finding those four corners of the feet. Arches are lifting up. And then releasing the toes on back down. And we're going to lift the back left arm up and look back behind ourselves. So you feel that hand, and now you see it right directly back from your shoulder. Maybe a tad bit higher is fine. And then as you start to turn your head back around through center and come on over, that right arm just wants to go there, doesn't it? So that you feel very balanced now in your warrior two. Strong, equal between your feet all the way up into your hips. Same thing, shoulders out to your hands. And we'll put our left hand down so we can turn the right palm up and inhale, reach up towards the sky. And on the exhale, we're going to come into that side angle. So again, it can be your hand on your thigh. It can be your forearm down. You can use your chair back. Adding this top arm up into line is a total optional move. If your shoulder says no, keep your hand down on your hip. Or you can bring the hand straight up. That's up to you. If you feel like you want to do something, it doesn't quite want to go into line. One more breath. We're going to come on into warrior two again, pressing those feet away from each other. Now straighten both legs out. Keep your arms long. And then reach that right hand down for triangle. So again, you may want to just put it right to the back of your chair. You may want to grab one of those blocks, put it underneath your hand, any height. Feel your thighs engaging up towards your hips. And if that left arm is up there, just really reach up through the fingertips there. Feel those thighs engaging upward. One more breath. And then we'll bend that right knee. Press into the feet to get yourself right back into core strength to get back up to warrior two. Now to make our way to a lunge, as we look down and decide where we want our hands, you get the height you want to be. Readjust as you need, sending that left heel directly behind your foot, remember. And then keeping your left hand where it is, bringing your right hand to your right hip, rolling that shoulder up. Hand can stay right down there on your low back. Trying to stay pretty level right there on your sacrum, or you can stretch the arm up if you choose. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release and come down with our hand, and we're going to step forward again, back into standing forward bend. If you're okay to hold your elbows, go ahead and let yourself release your hands to your elbows. Only if that, doesn't give your back too much there. And then breathe. Really feel the ribs expanding on the inhales in all directions. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to bend our knees, rise on up to standing, and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Good. And then we'll unfold our arms, shake out just a little bit. And this time you might want to turn your seat of your chair around to face you if you're using your chair. Have your blocks to the highest height here in front of you. And all we're going to do is come on down with our hands to the blocks of the chair seat, step our left foot forward and our right foot back. Find a lunge briefly. So get yourself set there. And then we're going to come on into a pyramid pose. So once we're down here in the lunge, we're just going to place that right foot now fully on the floor, turning the heel inward a little bit so that foot's turned out 20 or 30 degrees. And adjust the length of your stance, right? You may need to get longer or shorter. Both legs are straight now. Thighs are engaging up towards the hips. Lengthen out through both sides of the body. So try to think about being about parallel to the floor right now if you can. Lift up. You have space in your knees there. Then think about using your low belly, zipping up that low belly, sending your tailbone back further. And then let yourself shift weight to your right hand and bring your left hand up to your left hip and start to roll, to look to the left, maybe even rolling that left shoulder up. Hand is palm down there onto the sacrum. You can lift the arm up if you want. If it feels fine to you to lift your arm up, go for it. You can keep the hand down. Revolve triangle here. One more breath. And then we'll lower our hand back down. Now, if you like to fold over this front leg, you can. You can bow forward. You can even put your hands lower to the floor. Turn to let your fingertips face back to the back of your mat. Or you can stay, up in your back lengthened instead of doing this folding. Whatever feels best. One more breath. And then we're going to come up. We're going to bend the front knee briefly because we're going to step forward with our right foot. And we're going to step backward with our left foot. Right away, get into lunge. That'll give you a little bit of a relief after all that. And we're going to shift up into that pyramid now. So now, letting yourself adjust your stance so that you can get that back leg foot fully on the floor. Both legs are straight now. Again, you might want to adjust the length of your stance and the height of your hands too, right? Lengthen out. Think about lengthening out through both sides of the body. Nice flat back. And imagine using your belly, zipping up your low belly, but sending your tailbone back further. See what that does to the legs. It's pretty intense. Keep those thighs engaging upward. Now, one more breath. We're going to add that little twist, remember. So keeping your left hand grounded, bringing your right hand on up, and rolling that right shoulder up if you can. So trying to stay flat right back here like you're going to serve a cup of tea. That's how flat you are on your sacrum. And you can stretch your arm up if you choose, or keep the hand down. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to lower the hand back down. Now, if you want to fold over, go for it. If it feels like the best relief ever to fold over that leg, then do. If not, don't do it. One more nice full deep breath here. And then we're going to bring ourselves forward into standing forward bend. So take your time to get your feet right underneath you. And then turn your toes out just a little bit. Separate your feet a little wider on your mat. And you can from here just release your elbows to above your knees. If that's enough of a squat, stay right there. With your toes turned out, your elbows supporting you. If you want to squat all the way down, you can come all the way down if you want from there. Bringing your hands into prayer hands and letting yourself release. It doesn't matter whether the heels are on the ground or off. Just let it feel like a relief to you in your hips and your low back. Good. Now to come on up out of this, take your time. Get yourself back up with your hips. Bring your feet underneath you. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, press into our feet and rise up to standing, inhaling the arms all the way out and up, and letting our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. See if you can shift just a little bit towards the balls of the feet and then back a little towards your heels. Not so much that you're going to fall over, but just a little bit of shifting forward and back. And then kind of come back into center and try doing the same thing right to left so that you just go a little bit one side and then the other. And you can just imagine that those little swaying actions get smaller and smaller and smaller till you're just right there centered. It's so easy. It's just where your body wants to go, really. And just enjoy finding your mountain pose. And we'll let our arms come on down beside us. Shake it out a little bit. Studio, we're going to bring our mats to a wall. We're not going to use it that much, so if you're at home and you don't have a wall, don't panic. I had somebody not have a wall yesterday and made me sad because we did a lot at the wall. So we're going to turn to face the wall, and we're going to get fairly close to the wall, depending on you. So as I face the wall, I'm going to come into that figure 4, crossing my right ankle above or below my left knee. It depends on your hips. And then I'm just going to walk my hands down the wall till I send my hips back and decide I have enough. I mean, some of you may want to walk all the way down, hands to the floor, right? If your hips allow you to do that, you can do that. Otherwise, you can stay up really quite high, right? So it's your hips and your knees that are going to dictate how far you go here. How deeply you bend that supporting knee. That makes a huge difference in the hip. So how much you're bending that leg you're standing on, and it really changes how it feels in your hips. So if you know, I'm not doing that, don't bend so deeply. Take your time. I mean, those of you who want to come all the way down, hands to the floor, you can wrap your toes of that right foot. You can press into the upper left arm with your toenails if you want a little more in your hips. We're going to slowly walk our way back up. Now stand on your left foot, bend your right knee, let the right foot come behind you for a quad stretch. If you can reach back and get the foot with your hand, the top of the right foot with your right hand, do it. Pull the heel in more towards you if you've got your foot. And then start to push the foot into your hand. Let the left hand come higher up the wall and lean forward in towards the wall with your chest. Let the knee come a little behind you. Pressing gently. If you have your foot, pressing into the foot. Hand with your foot, right? Good. And then release. Come on down. We're going to come to the other side. So left ankle above or below the right knee, unless you did the other side before. And then again, bend that right knee, and you'll know pretty quickly, right? You'll know, do I want to bend any deeper? No, I don't. Or yes, I do. Do I want to walk further down? Does it feel good? Is it a hip release or instead too much? So you go where you can. If you get your hands down, lower to the floor, you can wrap the outside, the back of the toes around to the outside of the upper arm. And then we'll release to come back up. Now adjust yourself so where you can bend that left knee, feel the foot flexing. That might be enough, staying right there. If you reach back with your left hand and you get your foot, you can try to pull your heel in a little bit at first towards the buttocks. Then you can push the foot into the hand, so like you're trying to straighten your leg out. If the right arm comes up a little higher, it might give you a little more leverage to come forward here with your chest towards the wall. Knee comes back behind you. Don't overdo it. Good. And when you've had entirely enough of that, let yourself release and come on down. And we're going to make our way onto our bellies on the floor from here. So come down, let yourself come right on down to your belly, and if you can, rest your forehead on your hands, making a little pillow with your hands do. And then bend your knees and let your feet circle around. Let them circle in both directions. And then let your lower legs come like windshield wiper blades from one side to the other. So it's easy. Do what feels good. This is like a relief, right? Good. And then come on back to long legs. Let's come on into Sphinx pose with our elbows under our shoulders. Let your palms face down. Spread your hands. Really look at your own hands. And kind of imagine like if you were at a piano when you're trying to reach an octave, but your fingers are too short like mine, which can't even do it. But let yourself just really feel the stretch through the hands there, through the fingers. Really feel your thumbs in the floor, your pinkies, your ring fingers, your pointer fingers, your middle fingers. And then we'll bring our hands together. Interlace your fingers. Let's come up into either a half forearm plank where we're on the flesh above the knees, pressing into our forearms, elbows hugging in, engaging the belly there, or lift your knees up, come onto the toes curled under into that full forearm plank. And just breathe, enjoy. One more breath. And then we're going to come down, and we're going to roll onto our right side. Stretch your right arm up. You're all the way on your side, lying on your upper arm, if you can, right? Because we're going to do like a side-lying tree is all. So if you were to come into tree pose, bringing that left foot up and in, flex your right foot. That's like your supporting leg. Feel the outside of the pinky toe pressing into the mat. Below or above your knee. That depends on your hip. And you can decide if you want to keep your left hand on the ground or maybe you want to stretch your arms overhead. If it feels good to let your arms come overhead, finding that length. You can even clasp your hands together. You can keep your arms separated. You can keep your hand down. Just enjoy. One more breath. And then stretch that top leg back down long. We're going to roll back to our bellies again. And we're going to come into arms down alongside us here now, turning the palms down towards the ground. And on the inhale, float up into a little locust pose, reaching your fingertips and toes back towards the wall behind you. And you know how high you go is not important. If you're just barely off the floor, you're still strengthening here, the back. So you can go up higher if you choose, or you can let yourself stay lower. Don't put a discomfort in your low back here. One more breath. And then we're going to come down. We're going to roll to the other side. So left arm stretches long, coming onto your side for that side tree, pressing into the outside of that left toe. And again, as you bring your right foot maybe to the inside of your calf, maybe up into the inside of your thigh, the pressure into the outside edge of that left foot helps stabilize. Then you might feel good to bring your arms overhead and stretch them. You can interlace your fingers, send your pointer finger up. You can separate your hands, just let yourself enjoy there. So just be really enjoying being here on your side in your side-lying tree for one more breath. And then we'll roll back to our bellies again. And this time you can again come into that locust, so we just did, with the arms and legs long. Some of you may want to bend both your knees, reach back and get hold of the tops of your feet. If you feel like pressing your feet into your hands into a bow pose, you don't have to go up high. You can stay very low. Or you can let the feet reach up and come up a little higher, or stay with your arms and legs long. So you're doing your locust pose instead. And we're going to release back down, and we're going to shift back towards child's pose from here. So letting yourself release back. You know, you can stay somewhat forward towards your forearms there. You can shift your hips back towards your heels. How far apart your knees are in your child's pose is up to you. And if it feels good to bring your arms back alongside your legs, let the palms face up. You can. Another thing that feels good sometimes in child's pose is arms overhead and then bending your elbows and letting your hands rest on your upper back, or kind of the back of your neck or your upper back. So if that feels good in your shoulders, you can try that. Full deep breaths. Good. And then come up enough that you can walk your hands over to the right. So you're just releasing over to the right side and let the head then come back down so you're not tensing up your neck. And then we'll come back through center and we'll walk over to the left. So you only go as far as you want. And then you just release again if you can. Let your head release and try not to tense up in your neck or your face. Let your jaw go. Breathe into the right ribs. And then we'll walk our hands back into center. And we're going to come on forward and around with our legs so that we can sit with our legs on around in front of us. And we are going to reach for our straps. So take your time. Did you get a strap, Helen? I got it. So have your strap handy. You're welcome. And just have it handy, but at first, stretch your legs out and leave the strap right there so you can get it in a second. And let's bring our left foot in to the inside of our right long leg. So you can be low, like below your knee, even by your ankle if you want. You can bring the foot up higher if you choose. We're going to twist, so if that makes a difference to you, remember too, you can sit on a blanket. So inhaling here, and on the exhale, we're going to bring our left hand behind us and come on around towards that bent leg in a twist. Hand can stay on your shin, on your knee. You can bring your arm across to the outside if that feels releasing for your shoulder. So take your time. Let yourself lengthen up through the top of your head and find that space in the back of the throat and neck. Good. One more breath. And then use your belly to come back into center. And now just think of drawing yourself forward a little bit. I mean, you may even want to think of reaching your right hand down towards your right toes. If you have your thigh in up here, really in by you, you can let yourself come to the inside of that left leg there and then reach forward a little bit. Even floating your sit bone up a little bit if you want a little deeper into your hip there, reaching for your toes. And this sitting bone of that left side doesn't need to stay on the mat. So if you like that, if not, you can be right here and just kind of think of coming forward even if you can't reach your toe, right? Just be where you can. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly come on back up. We're going to stretch that left leg out, bring that right foot in. Again, inside whichever height on the leg it wants to be. Inhale into that long back. And on the exhale, bring your right hand around behind you. And again, as you come around, think of your left rib cage coming around towards that right inner thigh. Hand can stay. You can bring your arm across. Feel that sense as you inhale of lengthening up through the spine. And then you maybe even can imagine on the exhale coming a little deeper into your twist. One more breath. Now use your belly to bring you back around to the front again. And again, as you come forward, if the foot is low, you can kind of use your shin to help you. Maybe think about whether you want to reach down towards that toe or not. Or if you like the foot up higher and you like to send your arm to the inside of that leg, you can maybe let that hip float up and go a little deeper there into your hip. That's up to you. Good. So one more breath here. And then we're going to release to come on back up. Stretch our legs on out. Take your legs out to the side a little bit and just move through your feet a little bit. Come on forward. You don't have to go into a real wide angle, just enough to let your inner thighs get a little release there. If you want to go wider, go wider. If you feel like you can slide your hands down, your legs a little bit, do, or put your hands on the floor if you'd rather, right? That all depends, too, on how far apart you have your legs. Good. And then we're going to release back up, bring our legs on together, and we're going to get our straps. And we're going to play a little bit, so be mindful. If you're close to the wall, we're going to play with a little boat pose with a strap to help us. You do not want to roll backwards and bang your head into the wall. It is not comfortable. So take your time and let your strap get your feet together here, the big toe mounds coming together, and let your strap come right across the balls of your feet there so that when you lift your feet up, where you hold on this strap is up to you. You can get closer to your feet if that helps you better to support yourself here in the pose. Or maybe you feel like you want to bend your elbows and hold more by your knees, right? Because that feels better in your shoulders. You got to play with it a little bit to find what feels okay. And it might be enough just to be right here, not even straightening your legs at all. This is a lot of work right here in your core. So if you can think about keeping the back long, chest a little forward so you're not concave collapsing here. And then you can think, okay, do I want to bring my feet up a little bit higher with my legs coming longer or not? Sometimes it's easier to do boat pose with the strap than without. So you've got to find that little place to be. Keep the knees bent, it's fine. See if you can feel an uplift in the front of your body. Good. You're also obviously, sometimes holding these straps gets really tense in your hands, so be mindful. One more breath. And now we're going to bend our knees. We're going to open our knees. Now keep your strap on your feet if you can. So you've got yourself into Baddha Konasana. Feet can be way out here, or feet can be in, right? And you got the strap there to kind of encourage your feet together. So I've just still got it across the base of my, across the ball of the feet on the outside of the feet. And then I'm just going to use the strap to help me. I don't want to pull my feet up off the floor. I'm still pushing down into the floor with the feet, but using the strap to help me come a little forward. You can even try separating your toes when you're in Baddha Konasana so that you really can look at your own feet and you go, oh my, I've really got the base of the big toe mound together, the little toe mound, the inner and outer heel. You can separate your toes. You can let them join back towards each other. It's kind of fun to play with the feet in Baddha Konasana a little bit. So be mindful. You don't have to come forward at all. If it bothers your knees, don't do it. Take your legs longer if you need to. Don't even come forward. Just sit up tall if that's better. Good. So one more breath here. Nice. And then we'll release to come on up. Take your strap on off. We're done with the side. We're going to come on down onto our backs on the floor. So be mindful as you come on down. Once you get down there, bring your right knee into your chest. And let your left leg stretch long so that you can find an ease there for your back. And then we're going to switch, bringing that left knee in and stretching that right leg long. Really take your time. Feel the back release there. Good. And then bring both knees on into your chest. And just enjoy feeling the knees come a little bit side to side or circle. If it feels better to you, let the knees circle around. Whatever eases your low back and your hips, do it. And then keep your right knee into your chest again and stretch your left leg down long on the floor. And let's hold behind our right thigh. Extend the right leg up, and you can keep the knee bent. It's like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling. There's an openness for the back of the leg right there. If you want to straighten the leg out, do. You can even use your hands to kind of draw the leg in. You can reach up and hold onto your foot or your big toe if you choose to. That's just optional. And just breathe. Let yourself enjoy feeling that back of the leg there. And then let the knee come on back into the chest. And we'll bring the left knee in and extend the right leg down long on the floor. Hold the back of your thigh. Send your left foot up like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling. Kind of hug your thigh in towards the outside of the rib cage a little bit. And then again, you can decide, do you want to come into the straighter leg? You're still opening up the back of the leg, even if you can't get your leg straight, right? So just release and breathe there. One more breath. And then bring the knee on back in. And let's bring both knees in. Knees side to side again a little bit. And then we'll just bring our feet back to the floor, to the outside edges of our mat, right? And from here, bring your arms out beside you too. Let yourself just feel really easy. Turn the palms up. Release your shoulders. Let your knees come to the right. And then when you inhale, bring the knees back up to the top. And when you exhale, bring your knees to the left. So that might be enough. You might just want to inhale your knees up and exhale them to one side and go back and forth a few times. If you want a little bit more in this twist, when you do bring your knees to the right, you might want to lift your right foot up and put it on the outside of your left, right above your left knee, and just stay there for a few breaths, which really gives you a huge stretch through the the frontness up front of the left hip, if I can even talk. So just take your time. You can go side to side at your own time. You don't have to do that foot lifting up to rest on the outside above the knee there. And start to pay attention to your own body. Maybe there's something else you need to do. You need to do a bridge, a pelvic tilt, a plow pose, anything at all. Happy baby, anything that's going to help you feel better. By all means, do it. I'm going to start to get some light, so as I walk around and people start to get settled, I'd be happy to bring things that might help you get more comfortable. Bolsters. Blankets. So, you can use a wall if you feel like you want to lie with your legs up the wall. Great way to release, for some people, the back. Remember, if you at home feel like putting, you're welcome, a rolled blanket or two underneath your knees. Or if you have a bolster, of course, you can use that. I got you too. Welcome. good. So just be mindful. Those of you at home to get comfortable. If by any chance my microphone runs out before the end of Shavasana, you stay as long as you want there at home. Come back when you're ready. It might make it, it might not. But here in the studio, you know I'm going to be here to bring you back, so you can just let go. Enjoy feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you. And let your body and your mind have this quiet time, allowing yourself to benefit in whatever way you need from all you just did. Just by allowing yourself to be with your breath and completely and fully relax. body now. See if you can bring yourself back to feeling the ground underneath you, supporting you again. Become aware of feeling the body actually physically move as you breathe in and out. Taking your time, letting those deeper breaths bring you back into wanting to physically move. Fingers and toes, hands and feet, letting your movement come on up into your arms, your legs. You might even want to let your head roll side to side. Take your time. Come back to moving how you naturally feel good to move. You know you're welcome to roll onto either your right or your left side. If you're comfortable to do that, you can come into a soft fetal position. Use your arm maybe as a pillow if you don't have a blanket there, and be able to rest for just a little bit, giving your body and brain time to adjust. And that way, when you do feel like you're ready to rise up to sitting, it feels like the next natural thing to do, really. Comfortable in how you do sit, and then let your head come up there to be on top again, up above your heart. Having your eyes closed if they opened on the way up, so you can just stay inwardly focused on your breath a little bit longer. Watching and feeling the breaths in and out. And on your next exhale, bringing your hands gently to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Thursday, everyone. And happy October, new month.